Hello everyone. Right, it's about time I finished some of the jobs that I started but never really went back to. So today we're going to try and finalise steering. So my steering does work, and I've lowered the steering column to where I want it, so it's all lined up where I want it. However, I do feel a bit of binding, and I'm pretty sure I know where it's coming from. This section here is nice and solid. This section here, we have movement, and any movement that way is bad. So the only thing I can think of doing is to put another one of these hind joints on that shaft there. So I ordered up another hind joint. So that means I will be making a bracket and attaching it down here somehow, and that should tighten everything up for the steering. Now I have considered possibly welding maybe one side of each of the U-joints, because I'm really not keen on relying on Allen bolts for my steering to stay attached. I mean, even if they came out, nothing's going to fall off the car, but you don't want movement, and that's too much. So as I say, I might weld. Also, I'll be taking everything off, re-welding this. I need to add some bracing to this one. It does flex a little bit, so add some bracing either side of there, up and down. Maybe just some triangles of steel attached to that side of the frame, and then paint it all to stop it rusting. And I'll probably paint the bars as well, because they're just cold rolled steel or whatever it is, and as you can see, they're starting to rust. So I'll probably just paint them black. These are chrome, they don't need painted. This, I think it's actually stainless steel, so it's not going to rust, but it's already oxidizing. So I might paint them and then pack them with the grease, reassemble it all, and we should be good. Okay, let's dismantle this and then see where this can go. As I say, I'm going to have to make a bracket for the bottom for it to fit into it, and I don't have a lot of space. So I need to do some figuring out, and I'll be back. So I had to rethink. I took it all apart and I tried this hind joint down there, but there's just not enough room. And in actual fact, because there's so much angle on these, I kind of want the join at the end of this bar rather than the end of that one where it's fairly straight, because there's not a lot of movement there anyway. So what I'm thinking of doing is the hind joint will go on this side, but obviously I'll need to drill a hole through the frame and put that bolt through down the way, and then it will keep these two joints nice and solid. So that's the plan. I'll take it all apart, I'll mark where this is to go, drill a hole, weld on the locking nut onto the frame, screw it in, and see where we're at. So I drilled my hole for that hind joint, but as you can see, there's absolutely no way I can get a nut to adjust it on there, because that's the height it's got to go. If it's any higher, that bar will start hitting the frame. So that's where it's going, and it's getting welded on, and that's that. Hey, it's my car. If I ever need to change it, I know what to do. This will still be adjustable, obviously, and that's still adjustable, so I've got a bit of wiggle room. But even without that welded in, I've turned the steering and it's not binding in anything, so I'm going to weld it right there all the way around. And that, I mean, it's still a hind joint, so it can still move a little bit if it needs to adjust, you know, like that sort of way. So I will, oh good, I have to dismantle it all, grind this down so that I can weld it, make the little gussets for this, grind this down a bit more and weld it again, get it all back together. It's hot. Okay. Paint. Waiting for paint to dry. I have no patience for that, so I need to find something to do meantime. So take this opportunity to say, sorry Alan, completely forgot to mention you on the monetized video. Alan at Hooks Hot Rods, he donated a very nice aluminum gas tank to me right when I needed it. So thank you Alan, and I apologise. Go visit Alan's site, his channel, right there. Do it now! Right, what else can we do? I suppose I could tidy up, right? Me, tidy, okay. I know what we can do to fill the time. Let's hook up my big horn. Now, beforehand I had the horn just hooked up to a switch. It was earthed onto the frame, then the wire would come up to my horn switch, and then that would just go to a constant live. However, it's a horn, and generally horns take a lot more power, and that one does because it's pretty much got a motor in it, because it's the Awuga one. Awuga, whatever. So, basically what I need to do is wire this switch up to my fuse / relay panel. So I'll talk you through that then, shall I? So if you don't know how to wire up a relay, look it up. I'll give you a very brief description of how it works. I've got 4 relays here, and basically a relay is a remote switch to power things more heavy duty. Okay, so there's 4 wires going in. The blue one is coming from the power source, which I will be fusing for the horn with a 30 amp fuse. If that's wrong, give me a shout, because it's going to have a fairly thick wire, which is this one. So this is coming from the horn. The power out for the horn is the opposite side of the blue one on this occasion, so that's the top right. So screw that in there. So we now have a good solid power out to the horn, and the horn is earthed on the frame of the car, okay? But obviously it's not going honk honk at the moment because this relay needs activated, and that's what the other 2 wires are for. The white wire is a signal wire, and at the opposite side of the signal wire is a black wire, which is the earth. So you need to trigger this signal wire to activate the main power, and that's where you connect here. So coming from your horn switch, bear in mind your horn switch is just an interrupt switch, it doesn't have an earth on it. So you've got 2 wires, okay? One wire will go to the signal switch wire, which is that one there. So let me screw that one in. So all that's left to do is provide power to the switch. So I'm going to take a feed from the fuse box again, and I might as well plug it in next to the horn relay wire. But because this is a much thinner wire, I'm going to use a much smaller fuse. I'm going to use a 15 amp. I could probably use a 10. Again, let me know. I know it depends on the wire size, but I'll check all that at a later date. So we're actually all good to go. We've got power coming from the fuse that goes to the switch. When you activate the switch, it sends power back down this wire, which goes to the signal wire for the relay. So when you press the horn, it activates the switch, it turns it on, and it sends power back through this yellow wire all the way to the horn, and then the horn is earthed. So let's try it out. There's all sorts of ways you can wire this. You could wire it straight to power so that you don't need the key in the ignition, but for now this is the way I'm doing it. Ignition is on, and then when I press the horn, you see how that light is flashing? That means that fuse is burst. Let us get a new fuse. New fuse. Plugged in. And try again. Horn works. So obviously I need to tidy all this up again. I'll probably be routing it up and over, keep it out of the way. Right, let's see if my steering parts are dry yet. Oh, for goodness sake. This paint is good when it dries, but it takes forever. a bit sticky. I can't wait any longer. Let's do it. Steering is done. Thank goodness. Wow, that was really complex. So I suppose we better just take it for a wee test drive up and down the drive, make sure it's all okay. I mean, it's obviously going to be tough to steer when you're sitting parked because it's not power steering and it's very heavy and there's lots of linkage, but on the move it should be okay, so we'll give it a shot. Well, that's way better. It's still heavy, really heavy, but it's smooth heavy. It's not like doing that clunk thing where it's obviously getting bound up in the U-joints. So it's smooth but really heavy. I won't know for sure until I get it out on the road. Hopefully that'll be soon, but still a lot to do. So tomorrow, I don't know, might take the day off tomorrow, it's Sunday. Probably not though. I really want to get my brake pedal bracket sorted because that's really bugging me, and I want to be able to use the power booster for the brakes as well. But at the moment I would just destroy the brakes if I use the booster because the ratio is too long, blah de blah de blah. So we'll get on with that hopefully tomorrow, if not Monday. So thanks for tuning in, and as I say, steering is done. It was a hassle and I won't be doing it that way again. It's just too difficult. I need to plan ahead. That was one of the last things I planned in this project, so that's why it's quite so awkward. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. Please subscribe if you've not already. I appreciate everyone's comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.